In this video, I am just going to talk about the node Readme generator that I created. And first of all, before you start, you have to have Node installed on your computer. That's one of the first things. And you can just find the instructions for that, reading or learn how to get started on that or download it by going to the Node webpage. Then you can read the documentation there. So you need Node, and then you also need Inquirer. As you can see here, that's a dependency that we're going to require. And then you need access to the local file system. That's this top one. And I also used Prerequisites, another NPM package that basically just made it really nice when I was trying to debug this project. So if you need to try to really easily see errors in the terminal, this was a nice way to do that. So that's why I chose Prerequisites. It just makes them a little bit more visually easy to catch or know right where it's talking about an issue. So that's a couple of things that are required to get started. So, and I've also included down at the very bottom of my JavaScript file links for where you can find the web pages or packages that I talked about. Oh, and you'll also be able to see, this will have the current link of the how-to video that I've posted to YouTube right here. So then what you're going to do from here is, if it runs correctly, we should be able to start getting asked questions once I type in node, then project file, .js. That's just calling on the JavaScript file that we are looking at above. And then you're going to hit enter. You do have to use arrow key functions to navigate around in the terminal. So I hit enter, perfect. So it's already starting to ask us questions. And for the sake of time in this video, I'm just going to put very brief answers to questions here. So now I've been answering the questions, but I get to this point where it is going to ask for your license, if you have a license for the project. And I'm just going to use my arrow keys and arrow down till I find something. And you may not have one, and if that's the case, you can leave it blank. But I'm just going to find, I arrowed down to this one, and I'm going to hit enter. So Okay, so that looks pretty good. We've seen our questions, and if you'll look, they match what I've written up here in my JavaScript code. So you have a place where it's asking you for your repository, for example, here on GitHub. And then you can see the corresponding question down here. And then there's my answer. And this portion right here where it says validate, it's running a check to make sure that you have at least, you've got to have some kind of answer there. So, and you can see it, you got to have at least a word there so that this will continue on with the questions. And then you can see that on a couple of the others here. And like I said, they correspond from my JavaScript file to what you're being asked in your terminal. And I'm just using the terminal that's in VS Code. And then down here, you'll see these look a little bit different because I'm not doing a check or running a little test to make sure I catch errors or do any kind of error handling right here. These are also optional. So that's another thing is you don't have to put a or there if you want it. It's just up to you depending on your project. Then if you come down, so let me move back over here to this left-hand pane. So the cool thing is we finished entering all the answers in for the questions we were asked. And what should happen at this point is you should be able to look over here and see that a README file was generated. And this is one I ran earlier, and that was another test I did. But right here, you should see this pop up immediately after you finish doing these answers to the questions. So if I click there, you'll see that everything I answered down here and all of the, they're all the answers are on these white lines here. So, and then another thing is that if you look back here at the JavaScript file, you'll see here where we have this a function that is cool because it will lay out your markdown file, and so you can see that they match pretty well. And then this one, though, it looks great, but I think an easier way to view this or see this is if you come and hover over the README file you just created, right click and hit open preview. So this is kind of a nice thing because now you can actually see, okay, we're working with this, but when you put this on your GitHub page, it's going to look so nice and clean. And again, I would put more descriptive answers in. But the other great thing is that what you can do is you can come over here and you could type anything in your description. So I'm going to put just a few random words. I'm going to save this. And then if I open a preview, now you're going to be able to see that it's carrying over. So if you need to make changes, you don't have to rerun this whole program again. You can just come right back to your README that you were just looking at. the markdown document, and I can say, well, I didn't want zebra and cat in there, or I wanted to add some more useful information to my description. Put it in here, save it, and it's going to show up over here in your preview so you can see what it's going to look like at the end, which is really nice. And then if you use something like this each time, you're going to have really consistent and professional looking readmes every time. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. You can check out the final README that I have created for this project on my GitHub page. And thanks for watching.